All right, so we got this all put on here. I'm gonna throw a couple screws in. I know I'm off camera. I'll make sure I put a couple screws in this plate, and then we're gonna test it out. I don't want to do anything permanent until we have everything set up right. All right, we got the handles hooked up, and we're back here on the rear. Gonna mess with our cables here. Basically, these two red pieces are gonna go to the front, and your cable's gonna run up through the hole. So it's a pretty simple system. Gonna run them right through that hole like that, and make sure they're on that red divider there, that red anchor system. And I guess I didn't get around to cutting this off. We'll cut this off real quick. Yeah, pull it off. How about that? All right. Take this cable the same way. We're going to run it through here. And make sure it fits up on top of there. All right, and then this should set on top of the rudder. And this will go right in the top. So let's grab our rudder and work it up through here. Tell you what, let's lift this up real quick. Make sure the seal goes on properly. There's actually a rubber seal in here. Let's push this through. Make sure that seal goes on. There we go. That looks good. Our lines are still in place. You should just click on there. There we go. Run that screw down. I'm going to stop here. We're going to pause. We'll grab some blue Loctite. This screw you really can't use a lock washer because you're not going to tighten it down all the way or your rudder will be too tight. So I put a line of blue Loctite on here. Should work pretty well. Crank her down. I get her nice and snug, and then I'll tighten these cables and I'll back it off as I need to, kind of play with it. And you may have to adjust this later on. Feels pretty good. It might be a little tight. Back it off just a hair. That feels good. Alrighty. So now we're going to take these cables, wrap them around the screw. Make sure your handle's pointed forward. Looks pretty close. We'll test it out in a minute. Just kind of eyeballing it for now. Let's wrap this line around the other direction. That way we're tightening it, we're not loosening our cable. There we go. All right. That feels good. This one, tighten it up. Same thing when we go around this way. Tighten that line up. And let's see what she feels like. Pretty good. A little loose still. All right. A little loose. Yeah, that cable's really loose right there. Let's tighten that one down a little bit. All right. One thing I've learned about the Slayer is you got to keep, I imagine it's all these Native Watercraft, you have to keep tightening the lines over and over again. All right, so we got to full swing that direction. Let's see what it looks like that direction. Looks pretty good. Everything seems to be all right. I think we're going to tighten her down. That's straight. Yep. Lines are good. That's a little loose, but I tell you what, I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, might tighten it up. Let's take a look here. It's hard to tell. No, I think I'm going to leave it. We'll play with it later on. It's probably going to loosen up again. So, there you go. Okay, it took us a long time to get to here. Full disclosure, I'm not the best with a Allen wrench, evidently, so I kind of skipped over this. I'm not real good at editing either, so I was trying to show you guys hooking this up, but basically I kept dropping the screw down in the track, so I wasn't going to bore you with all that video. Basically what you want to do is make sure that your line is on the, and you'll find out because there's a big side and a small side. This side is small, so it won't go on backwards. If you try to put it upside down, it won't fit. So basically you want to make sure your line is set up through here and it's not crossed in the holes when you line this up. And then you want to try to pull your slack out of the back and then line that up. There we go. That's basically it. Then I'm gonna assemble the back here and adjust my cables, and we should be good. So there you go. That's kind of what it's going to look like. I'm knee deep into this, but I'm going to add this to the start of my videos. If you guys are unsure of yourselves, I wouldn't even mess with this cable replacement. I looked at some YouTube videos that looked real simple. Maybe you guys have better luck than I did. I had no luck at all. You'll find out through my install the problems I ran into. So I wouldn't mess with it unless you have to, or maybe you got a shop. I just don't have a shop nearby. The problem with this here at Fort Bragg is there's not anything nearby. We have to drive all the way to Raleigh to even get any kind of support. So I kind of do all my own work. I'm going to modify all these lines so there won't be any more problems. By the way, with my modified line, you could just snake it through there. Matter of fact, I could even go with a heavier. I have a 2mm line now. I could even go with a thicker line. So I'm definitely going to change these out. And I don't have all the parts right now. You can see everything laying out. It took me a while to get to this point. So, but I'm going to put this at the start of the video. If you guys don't feel comfortable changing your rudder lines out, I would just stop and not mess with it. So the handle should be pretty simple. Okay, so what I ended up doing here was I ended up using the brass wedding bands on there, and then I flared it out. I'm going to look for a better setup. I bet they have a terminal here that'll fit, and I'll get those, and I'm going to replace both of these. But I left the factory one in there for now, but I'm not too impressed with them. And if you look back here, I did the same thing. Used the wedding band. Kind of getting caught in the shade there, but there's a wedding band on there. And I flared it out. So like I said, I'm going to change those cable systems out. I don't like them, so but that'll work for now. All right, we're dealing with an angry bird up there. I have a hornet flying around me. It's gonna be a mess. Basically, when I was doing replacing my rudder cable, unless you guys really know what you're doing, I would probably avoid even touching it. They made it seem so simple on the videos. If you can see that hole there, I don't know if that's going to show up or not, but it's all boogered up. Both of my ends are boogered up. I don't know why. And in the midst of trying to run the cable through, I broke the end off. So this dropped down inside the cable, or dropped down inside the kayak. So I figured, well, it's the end of the world. What I'm going to do is upgrade it to a better cable. This came off of some air shocks I had, but it's a much better cable. It's thicker. The hole's bigger. You can actually upgrade your rudder cable once I'm through. And I'll actually use the brass fittings on the back to hold it in. And in the front, I'm not real sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, basically this is garbage. This cable's garbage. These little fittings they got on the end are garbage. So yeah, we're going to upgrade that. All right, what I didn't show here was I ended up having to go back and burn those ends. They weren't even going to try to go in the holes. So now I've burned those ends. We should be good. Let's make sure we're putting this together right. It's going to go in there just like this. So this is going to be the rudder for this side, rudder line. It's not going to work. All right. All right, let's get started.